Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Blog Talk Radio's Find Yourself, Live Your Dreams, and Be Happy for Saturday, January 10th. I'm your host, Yvonne Brown, coming to you live from Chicago, Illinois, as I do every second Saturday of the month at 2 p.m. Central Time. Find Yourself, Live Your Dreams, and Be Happy is a live internet talk radio show that focuses on how to take advantage of the opportunities that life sends your way. The program explores obstacles overcome by ordinary people with extraordinary results and what inspires or motivates them to take positive actions that make their dreams a reality. And I know a little bit about that myself, as I have had 10 careers. I started as a fashion model. Then I was a rock and roll singer on the MCA label, a corporate consultant, and today I'm a speaker, a trainer, an author, a coach, and a radio show host. So let's set the tone for today's program. Rhonda Byrne said, every single second is an opportunity to change your life because in any moment you can change the way you feel. Today's show, by the way, is brought to you by JAD Communications International. They specialize in personal development, coaching, and training. JAD Communication focuses on improving communications, managing people and expectations, increasing interpersonal skills, promoting respectful communications, and conflict resolution. You can visit them online at and use the contact page to request more information. Boy, have we got a fantastic show for you today. Joining us later will be Michael Perlman, who will be taking your calls and your questions. So be sure to call in at 646-381-4198. And by the way, if you're listening online, please mute your computer first. When we talk with Michael, we'll be talking about law of attraction and spirituality. But first, let me share with you how law of attraction changed my life. It began with the simple quotation, thoughts become things. Maybe some of you have heard your mother say, be careful what you wish for. Law of attraction is what we're talking about when we say those things. So we begin the year this way with a show titled, How Law of Attraction Really Works, Essence of Spirituality in Law of Attraction Journaling. To start the new year, we are discussing how it works and what is missing in most of the popular books and programs that are available on the subject today. We'll share the essence of understanding spirituality and how to apply it in your life. Finally, we'll share with you the steps of law of attraction journaling mastery, and we believe that they can help you in attracting what you want in the new year. So let me tell you about our guest, Mr. Michael Perlman, MD. He is a well-known Boston area psychiatrist and personal life strategist with a spiritual focus. He uses the law of attraction as a touchstone to help people reveal their divine self-expression to live the life of their dreams. His process has evolved over time and allowed him to use his own life as the subject of the creative process, and his awakening led him to develop the law of attraction journaling. The law of attraction journal provides a direct route to self-realization by guiding people to effectively separate their heart's will from their ego's will. So welcome, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you, Yvonne. Great to be on your show.
I'd like to begin by asking, what does the law of attraction mean exactly?
What it means is simply, well, it's one of the most exciting developments of putting into words that make sense to the person, to people, that essentially give more understanding of what the Sermon on the Mount is about, to give people understanding about what all the successful business writers are, about having a vision and a purpose and a goal and setting out to be clear about your current reality or even military tactics and strategy. So it's a way to understand the clearer you are about what you truly desire and want and know is your truth, and to be clear about what's not yet quite right in your life, and there's a way to understand those two structures, those 2 points of energy.
Let me ask you this. Is there a spiritual component with this law of attraction?
Well, I would say it is a completely spiritual process. It's a process of spiritual awakening. However, it's simply easier for people to understand is that they have some human needs and desires. They want abundance and loving relationships, and they want to get rid of depression. They want to slow down the drinking, and on and on. And those are very real concerns, but the answer at the end of the day will be a spiritual one, although you wouldn't want to bring that up at the first few words of conversation. You might, but might not.
Okay. So how in the world did you get involved with law of attraction, being in the field you're in and all?
Well, it starts being miserable, feeling unhappy, and then being sort of bright and motivated. I figure the way to get clear about how to deal with misery is to become a psychiatrist. That way I can teach what I'm learning. And it was a way to understand. Go ahead. Yes?
No, keep going. Yeah.
Well, it was a way that I understood. I mean, we start off, and for most fortunate people, they have good families and backgrounds and all the opportunities, or reasonable enough opportunities to thrive, especially in this wonderful country, that they want to do good. People want to enjoy life. They want to be successful, have great relationships, do something productive. And then the world, the rubber meets the road. They get into all sorts of things, maybe old tapes, things happen, get into ways of coping that are maladaptive, like drinking or other forms of behavior, and get into some depressions that socks them into certain patterns of behavior, and not only or merely that, and then they find they lost their way. They lost their connection to what was exciting for them, what they wanted to be when they grew up, what they truly loved.
Oh. So is that why you recommend they use the journaling?
Well, I will say this. It's that what we've understood is the law of attraction is a wonderful way to organize our thinking. However, we felt that something was missing, because a lot of people were not getting what they wanted with the law of attraction. They were using it, they were reading it, they were studying it, and all these sort of what became shelf-help books. It wasn't until in some parallel path, because I'd always been aware of the law of attraction and all the spiritual, but I began to work with my own patients and my own process of awakening and my own spiritual path, that I saw that patients would talk to me and I didn't understand what they were saying, or in other words, it was English surely, but they were all over the place. And I finally thought why don't we write down what you're saying? So I developed a way that we could sort of copy or type out on a monitor what they were saying, and I would type it out, and then eventually they could do it. And I would say, "Is this it? Is this it?" Yes, that's what I feel. That's what's wrong. That's what's not right. Oh, I would say. And they would say they saw it, the missing piece. They were outside in a third person. Oh, I'm miserable about this, that, or I feel this. They saw the problem. And that's the essence of it. Once they could put down in their own words and be gently glad, well, is this what you meant? Is that what you meant? Because I only want them to reveal the truth of what's not yet quite right in their lives. But once they wrote it down, and the truth or the validity of that statement, that situation was revealed, and in that quiet opening, it began to form, I would say, asked, well, then, how would you like it to be? And I would grab another page on the monitor or the screen, and they'd say, well, I'd like this, I'd like to be this, and have that, and the other. And it became very clear that we are, from the expression of Chardin, that we are not human beings having spiritual experiences. We are spiritual beings having human experiences. And the clearer people became individuals by way of the writing, it's so important to write it down, to see your thoughts. You just can't, until you get more expert or advanced in this thing, you see what's not quite right. You feel the truth of your human beingness, the fallible vulnerability of your human experience in this life that we're all heir to. And there's something about being honest about that truth. And what is left as you observe it is an opened expanded consciousness, beingness, that consciousness of that born again, if you like, or whatever the spiritual terms that speak to that the sky's the limit, you're free, you're in a different domain of mindfulness. And as you work with the structures, spiritual beingness, human beingness, from the perspectives that we have in our journal, it becomes clearer and clearer till finally you understand your soul has been trying to channel to you all your life, and now you're listening. And now you're connecting with your soul, knowing yourself as that.
Oh, that's pretty spiritual. What
yeah,
is the essence
it doesn't get any more spiritual than that. It's the essence of it.
Exactly.
And it's liberating. It just feels good. Feels right.
It would, wouldn't it? It certainly
yes.
would. What is the essence of spirituality then, would you say?
Well, the essence of spirituality is simply that, it's like if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. It's when you're in that state that surpasses understanding, where you've stepped outside of the words and the doing into your knowing and being. And most people, most human beings, I certainly was part of that crowd and I'm not entirely free of it, but are whipsawed by the confusion of our heart's desire and our ego's desire, and you've got to get you got to make the donuts, the hamburger stand, the rush hour traffic, and you see, and that you also want to be loving and present and enjoy life, and this method is the missing piece of literally writing down, getting separated these two constructs, because they're both valid and both important. And the senior structure, your essence, is that simple consciousness, the knowing.
Oh, wow. That's very, very powerful. Please,
yes.
clarify for me what you mean by using the information from the ego. What is that?
The ego is nothing more than what you think about and feel and what's going on in your life day to day, whether it's in relationships or finances or your health, your ego, your sex interests, your purpose in life, you're trying to get the neighbor upstairs to stop, banging on the wall, whatever. It's anything that is a human being experience that is going on, your current reality as your expression in this human form. Oftentimes it's usually discordant. Many human being experiences are kind of pleasant. I like my ride to work, or I enjoy watching this movie or listening to this music. But if you start to pay attention to what is discordant, it has to do with solely, uniquely with the human being, what's not quite right, what's uncomfortable.
Oh, so I'm getting it.
Yes.
But that raises another question for me, which is, can you please explain how your law of attraction journaling is a tool for awakening self-realization?
Absolutely.
So you reach that.
We have the journal itself, which is free, at lawofattractionjournaling.com. You can sign up and participate. And we also have a starting guide and a preparatory 4 steps. So what we lead people to get in their way they're comfortable with is a sense of separating out in their own heart and mind in a way that's comfortable for them, the unique way they experience life on life terms, and the unique way their soul is seeking expression in this life. Clearer they are about writing down those thoughts, and the thoughts may be muddied or confused, and we can guide them. Well, this might go there. What do you say? And then we have a group conscience. They would and get feedback from others until their language, their truth about what's really going on, what's uncomfortable or discordant, becomes so clear. Yes, that's it. And then they can shift or look at, wait a minute, how would I like it to be? Now they're starting to walk and chew gum. But it's a writing it down, moving from perspective to perspective, and we have these 4 steps, simply that appreciating contrast, being clear, knowing yourself as a conscious creator, expressing your preferred way of being, and finally surrendering to the process, where you're simply balancing harmonious and reasonable actions. And each of those are simple to understand at the outset, but as you start to apply it to the energy and information of both the heart's desire and what's going on in your human body form in this life, it makes more sense, and you get freer and lighter and more able to operate from an awakened heart's desire, soul's desire expression.
Oh. Now, one more thing, a couple of other things. How important is writing it down? Because a lot of times people have these thoughts in their head about all the things we're discussing.
Yes,
so how important is actually writing it down?
The thoughts in your head are, how can I say it? It's like shifting deck chairs in the Titanic. Someone said to me, well, I said, what do you do for a spiritual practice? Well, I get up in the morning and I think good thoughts. Oh, I said, really? And I'm thinking, well, good luck. Because the missing piece is until you literally write down what you're thinking. You're holding your mind to the task. You're holding it accountable, but you thought this and you felt that. Well, which is it, you see? And slowly you start to take charge by inquiring, what are you thinking, what's going on, what's important here, and you cannot be whipsawed anymore. Your truth, as you express it, and only you, is nailed by that writing it down.
So it helps you
writing
focus.
It down is key. I'm sorry, Yvonne. What?
I'm saying it helps you focus.
Well, yes, it absolutely does help you focus, but even deeper, by writing it down, you get clear of what's really going on, even though it's miserable or discordant, and you reveal the truth of your human experience. And you also, in that revelation of the truth and the seeing it and being clear, you realize you're more than that thought or feeling or situation, no matter how awful. In other words, you have a body, you have awful feelings and thoughts, but you are not them. And that's the trick. But the writing it down helps you that walk and chew gum. Have compassion for your own humanness, and then eventually to others, and then have compassion and an understanding and a knowing, more importantly, of who and what you are as a spiritual expression in this life.
Okay. I'm getting it. Is there guidance or prompts to assist people with using this journal?
Yes, there are prompts on each of the perspectives. There's a starting guide. You can just start, and it's just begin, just starting writing stuff down. And we have Thursday coaching seminars for Law of Attraction on 5 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday. And we have a community, Law of Attraction journaling community, where people can write groups, and we offer prompts on there and questions, and they have certain dialogue. We go back and forth. Someone's an issue, and the community picks it up. And we have our what we call the 4 steps, which are simply give you a way to sort of start to think about that information. What does it mean by appreciating contrast? Well, some thoughts feeling good, some don't feel so good. And then being clear. Well, I'm clear that I feel this, or I want this, or I don't want that. That's a big step. You start to know what you want, what you don't want. And then it's starting to build that vision as a conscious creator that, wait a minute, I prefer this, and as I'm clear, I'd like to have this, and these are things I want. And you start to dwell more in your imagination, although clearly, connected to your earth presence, your human being, but you're expanding how you'd like things to be. You're living more in the sense of enjoyment and allowing things to come in. That's the essence of the law of attraction. Because your vibration and resonance is of such a higher vibration, and the clarity of what you're preferring, the universe is flowing through you to manifest those things.
Does it help us to access our higher selves then?
Yes, it is. Not only your higher self, but your true self, your ground of being, who and what you are, and how you came here, and where you're returning to.
That is really very, very powerful, and I find it interesting that as a psychiatrist, you're using this methodology.
Using the what?
This methodology, this journaling.
Oh, yes.
In your field.
Yeah, well, for me, it was never a journey about being a member of this or that, but I was on a path to be free of what's called the bondage of self. And although I learned a lot about the psychiatry and the psychopharmacology and all the things that go with that, what has been missing, for me, is in the psychiatry field is a transpersonal psychiatry. What if you weren't a depressive? What if you weren't a bipolar? What if you weren't of a trauma, PTSD? You see what I mean? So to enter that domain, that you're only having those experiences, you are not that in essence. And that was a big eye-opener for me, personally and professionally.
Oh, I'm getting it. That's not what you are. That's an experience you're having.
That's what I'm having. The experience, the nightmaring experience or whatever. Yeah.
Yes. It's an experience you're having. And if you can then journal and separate you from the experience, it might allow you to appreciate the contrast and know now to move into what it is that you really are wanting.
And that's the essence of the journaling. As you write it down, you start to appreciate contrast. You start to become clear of what's wanted and what's not wanted, and you start to build more and more of a vocabulary of knowing of how you want things to be, what you want to have moment to moment. And it becomes more autonomous, more spontaneous. And suddenly you show up just feeling refreshed and enjoying things. And you can consider what to have for meal. You're working more and you prefer this or would like to have that. And the universe starts delivering.
And the universe starts delivering, yes. That's how I live my life. So I completely
There you are. You're
that.
Attracting it because of that vibration. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your vibration.
Absolutely. And so when there's something I don't want, I immediately turn away from it and turn towards something
there you are.
I do want.
It's your guidance. In other words, the human being, rather than become, a cruel master, it becomes a good servant. It guides you like a GPS. Oh, this is good. I like this. I'll have more of that. Oh, no, thanks. Less of that. Thank you. I'll back away from that. And what I really want. And you shift and you go to what you're really wanting, desiring.
Absolutely. I get it. I love it.
Yes.
Because I do follow the law of attraction, which is why I was so excited about this show, because it's a great way to start the year by saying, what do I want in my life? What do I want to attract for 2015? Let me focus on that.
We emphasize in our journal writing to keep clear of these three points of view, to be clear about how you want to be. First, happy, joyous, financially independent, comfortable, and so forth. And then, secondly, what you want to have. Wouldn't it be nice to have a place on the beach, to have a home on the water, or whatever? The having. And the last is the doing, your movement, because the universe, the resonance of those three, having, being, and doing, is different. The being is a higher, clearer vibration. But experience it for yourself. And the having is the next level, and the doing, where the body is in motion, is the third. Now, as you play with that, you start to see more and more priorities.
I've noticed
For
that.
example, because if you want a loving relationship, the thing you want to be is be loving.
Yes.
And then have someone to share it with.
Yes, because then
the doing
then you
may be
attract
the vacation.
The person that you want.
Yes.
That's law of attraction in action right there. By being a loving person, you will attract people who are loving people.
Yes,
also.
if you also, same with abundance, being abundant consciousness, be filled with gratitude and filled with the joy of living, no matter, despite the external circumstances, then you're attracting abundance in the physical dimension, the having of the finances and so forth, the doing.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh, time just flew, didn't it? Do you have any final comments for our listeners?
It was a delight just sharing this with you, Yvonne. You just was so clear about what this was about and allowed me the ability to express the essence of it. I just am very grateful.
Well, I will share with the listeners that I would like to direct them to go to your Law of Attraction journaling.com.
Yep.
And start using that free journal that you have provided for them. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much, Mr. Michael Perlman, for an inspirational interview. It helps to kick off the new year on a very positive note. And many thanks to all of you, our listeners, for joining us today for the Find Yourself, Live Your Dreams, and Be Happy show. And join us next month on the second Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Time when our guest, Tawan Perry, answers the question, is a college education still worth it? Until then, let me leave you with this final thought. For law of attraction to work, you must believe. You need to truly believe that what you are asking for will become yours. Doubts need to be pushed away. The idea that failure is a possibility will mess up the whole delivery. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That last one is by Mr. Albert Einstein himself. So thank you, everybody. And remember to find yourself, live your dreams, and be happy. And also follow the show at blogtalkradio.com/Yvonne-F-Brown, and then leave your comment about today's show. Thank you, everybody.